My name is Honey Mahogany, and I'm chair of the party, and I am calling this meeting to order. Welcome back again to our regularly scheduled meeting. It's really good to see everyone. And at this time, I'd like to call on our recording secretary, Member Lee. Would you be so kind as to call the roll?
Yes, thank you, Chair Mahogany. Member Avalos.
Here.
Thank you. Member Braca is excused. Member Barry.
Present.
Thank you. Member Campos. Member Chen.
Here.
Member Dufty.
Present by proxy.
Member Galata.
Present.
Sorry, I'm just trying to fill this in. Member Banyas.
Present by proxy.
Thank you. Member Kim. Member Lacroix.
Oh, present by proxy.
Peter working overtime here. Member Lee here. Member Loftus.
Present by proxy.
Thank you. Member Lovett. Member
Barry's proxy for Levitt.
Got it. Member Chair Mahogany.
Here.
Member Mandelman.
Present by proxy.
Member Mar is excused. Member Maliga is excused. Member Morales. Member Raju. Member Ronan.
I will see Member Morales is here, but she's connecting to audio.
Okay. Member Thomas.
Here, present.
Member Tong.
Here.
Member Williams. And our newest member Zhao.
Here.
Oh.
So, yeah.
So okay. Member Feinstein. Member Pelosi.
Here by proxy.
Member Spear.
I believe Brian is here, but not a panelist. He commented in the chat. Might need to promote a couple people.
Great. Member Kounalakis. Member Ma is excused. Member Cohen is excused. Member Weiner. Member Haney. And Member Ting. If I didn't call your name, please just note it in chat. I'll grab you in a moment. Otherwise, we have 18 present with proxies, so we have quorum.
Member Spear present.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins. We got you. Also, cool background. I don't know what happened, but you're purple. Technology. All right. Thank you, Recording Secretary Lee. Appreciate that. We will now move on to item number 3, which is item number 2, which is the approval of the meeting agenda. For tonight's meeting, you should have the agenda before you, and members, you should have also received the 72-hour agenda. On the agenda, we have an item number 14, which I have introduced and would like to add. The item is a resolution in support of the unionization of the Castro Starbucks here in San Francisco. And I would ask that we have a motion to add item number 14 to the agenda.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Solomon. And is there a second?
Second.
I saw a second from Vice Chair Galata. And then I'm wondering if we can have a motion to approve the agenda as amended, unless there are any other amendments.
So moved.
And that was from
Avalos.
Avalos. Thank you, Member Avalos. Is there a second for that?
Second.
And that was by Mr. McCoy on behalf of Speaker Pelosi. All those in, can we do this without objection? Without objection, the agenda is approved. All right, we will now move on to the approval of the meeting minutes. These minutes were sent out for all members for review, and I believe there are some amendments that need to be made. Is that correct? Is that from Recording Secretary Lee, or is that from Executive Director Garcia? Oh, Executive Director Garcia?
Yeah, the correction is just to note the absences from the last meeting.
Okay, and those have been given to the recording secretary. Okay,
Correct.
awesome. Do we need to review what those specific absences were for the record?
Yes.
I find to
sorry.
record, but I don't have that in front of me. So if Edie Garcia has it, I'll defer to what's this?
Yeah, one moment.
No worries.
All right, my internet's being slow. Great, just to note that members Campos, Mandelman, Marr, Ronan, Cohen, and Weiner were absent at the last meeting.
Okay, thank you so much. With that,
We were here last meeting.
Good to know.
okay. So removing Weiner from that lineup. Can we have a motion to amend the meeting minutes?
I'll move that.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Member Barry. And can we now have a motion to approve the meeting minutes as amended?
So moved.
Thank you, Member Thomas, and seconded by
Avalos.
Member Avalos. Thank you very much. Can we take this without objection? All right, without objection, the meeting minutes are approved. We will now move on to general public comment. This is an opportunity for the general public to engage with the members of the DCCC and speak on any items of interest on the agenda. I will turn this portion of the meeting over to our Executive Director, Moises Garcia, to help facilitate this portion of the meeting. And thank you very much, Director Garcia.
All right, 1 minute. Great. If you would like to make public comment, please use the raise hand function, which can be found at the bottom of your Zoom screen. If you are listening to this meeting via your phone, please dial *9 to enter the queue. If you encounter any difficulties, please send an email to info@sfdemocrats.org. Each member of the public will have 2 minutes to address the SFDCCC. Associate SFDCCC members have floor privileges and may exceed the 2-minute time limit. I will promote folks in the order that I see your hand raised, and thank you in advance for your patience. Great, so I will start promoting some folks. First, I'll promote Jordan Davis, followed by Carly Finkel and Susan Pfeiffer.
More afternoon, everybody, or evening. My name is Jordan Davis. I think that number one, I really think we need to go back to in person, of course, with the remote option. Like board supervisors have been meeting in person, a lot of places have been meeting in person. We need to be doing this, of course, with the remote option. Second, I support Honey Mahogany for D6. That was a good opener. Third, I believe that I can't say I can support, I can't say I support AB 930. Only because I just believe that 2 a.m. is a good cutoff for alcohol. And you'll find that in New York State, which allows 4 a.m., a lot of upstate counties are basically set at 2 a.m. Of course, Member Lee probably knows that. So that's all I really had to say. I can't support AB 930 or the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your comments. Carly Finkel, please go ahead.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Carly Finkel. I'm the policy manager at Chinese for Affirmative Action. I'm here speaking in support of item number 9, which is sponsored by Janice Lee, which is a resolution in support of the Stop AAPI Hate, No Place for Hate agenda, which includes 2 bills at the state level addressing bias-based harassment, specifically on public transit and in places of public accommodation. Chinese for Affirmative Action's mission is to protect the civil rights of Chinese Americans and advance social justice and multiracial democracy in the US. And we do this through a combination of direct services, advocating for systemic changes, and building intersectional and cross-racial coalitions that prioritize the needs of our community's most marginalized members. And our organization in March 2020, our leadership, our staff, our community members, we're seeing, hearing, and experiencing increased rates of bias and bigotry and violence against members of the AAPI community related to the outbreak of the pandemic. And so in response, CAA came together with our partners at the AAPI Equity Alliance and the Asian American Studies Department of San Francisco State University to found Stop AAPI Hate, which has been a national reporting center. And so over the last 2 years, we've received thousands and thousands of personal stories of incidents of hate and violence against members of the AAPI community. And we've used all of those stories and that data to try and raise awareness, but also to develop targeted solutions that address this hate and harassment and discrimination that impacts not just the AAPI community, but all marginalized communities. And we've been intentional in trying to build an intersectional coalition to address particularly the places where this kind of bias it shows up the most commonly, which is on transit and in businesses and places of public accommodation. And so we believe that everyone has the right to feel safe and welcomed in public spaces. And we think that resolution number 9 is closely aligned with our core values of inclusion, equity, and justice. So we're very grateful to Janice Lee for her leadership on this issue. And we hope that everyone can stand with all San Franciscans who have experienced hate and discrimination and harassment in public spaces by voting in support of resolution number 9. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Next up is Susan Pfeiffer, who has floor privileges.
Thank you. Good evening, Democrats. I've got 3 issues tonight, or agenda items. One of them is, if you remember, a month ago, we had, or the beginning of this month, a very successful voter registration drive with the high school graduations, and thank everyone for their participation in that. We do have a good supply of the postcards that we printed left over, and they are good through November. So if anyone is going to be at any event that may involve voter registration or you want to use them, let me know. I'm happy to deliver them. They're in my garage. They have a QR code on them that goes directly to the Secretary of State's voter registration site. I'm going to have some at, I'm doing a booth for Cover California at Pride this weekend, but I'll have some there as well because registering to vote is part of the Cover California enrollment process. Secondly, I just dropped off a Bay Area Coalition phone bank, the Wednesday night one. I was calling into Nevada for Catherine Cortez Masto and Governor Sisolak. Just as a reminder that we are part of that, and the phone banks are continuing every Wednesday evening from 5 to 7 and Saturday mornings from 10 to noon. And we may have some on-site in-person phone banks at the headquarters that will be opening this weekend. I will leave that to someone else to report, but we may be able to do some in person as well. So let's stay on the phones and win the midterms. And lastly, as part of the e-board that's coming up, I know quite a few of you are e-board members. As the part of the organizing committee, we have been asked to contact all of the e-board delegates and attendees to let you know on Saturday afternoon between 10:30 and 2:30, so late morning afternoon, there will be 3 buses. There'll be 4 activities that they want all e-board members to participate in at least one of. There will be 3 buses at the hotel and then 1 activity on site. 2 of the buses will be canvassing, one for Christy Smith and one for Jay Chen and Katie Porter. And there will be another one going to the LA River to do an environmental cleanup, an LA River cleanup. And then the 4th activity will be staying at the hotel and phone banking for Rudy Salas in CA 21 in the Central Valley. So be prepared. Someone should be calling you to sign you up for one of those. And we hope to see you participating in that. And that is it.
Great. Thank you for your comment, Susan. Next up, we have Candace Cho, followed by Alyssa Buckley, and then Lori Adamont. Go ahead, Candace.
Dean, my name is Candace Cho. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Managing Director of Policy and Counsel at AAPI Equity Alliance. We're a coalition of 40 community-based organizations who serve the 1.5 million Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders in LA County. We're also a co-founding partner of Stop AAPI Hate. So I'm calling in full support of item number 9, the resolution in support of SB 1161 and its corresponding budget request, and AB 2448 to address harassment on transit and in businesses. Since March 2020, we at Stop AAPI Hate have received more than 11,000 reports of hate against AAPIs, including more than 4,300 in California. 2/3 of these stories are shared by AAPI women. More than 75% take place in public spaces like public transit and businesses open to the public. And a vast majority of these stories are about being verbally harassed for causing COVID, for having COVID, or simply for being who we are, in my case, an Asian woman. For example, I was waiting for a bus on a Tuesday night when a man started screaming "Konnichiwa" in Tokyo at me over and over. And the wait for a bus was so long that I decided to take a rideshare instead. This harassment is so common and pervasive and harmful that it affects our health, our well-being, our feelings of safety, our routines, and our freedom of movement. SB 1161 and AB 2448 take a gender-based and civil rights approach to addressing the hate and harm that too many in our community face, but that's also faced by too many others: BIPOC, trans and cisgender women, LGBTQ and TGI individuals, people with disabilities, just to name a few. Thank you to Janice Lee for your leadership on this issue, and I hope that the committee can vote in support of this resolution. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your comments. Next, we have Alyssa.
Hi there, my name is Alyssa Buckley, and I'm here to ask you to support agenda item number 10, the resolution urging the City College Board of Trustees to protect access to public higher education. I've worked at City College for 15 years. I started as a tutor and worked my way up to a full-time tenured instructor in the English department. This past spring, I was laid off along with 8 of my full-time tenured colleagues in English and 31 of my colleagues throughout the college. While this decision by the Board of Trustees has been personally devastating to me and my family, the bigger picture for the students at City College is that because of these layoffs, the English department was forced to cut an additional 26 classes from what was already a vastly reduced course schedule. That's an additional 806 students who will be shut out from taking classes like the one I teach, English 1A. This is a first-year writing course and a core general education requirement that all students must take to graduate and transfer. In fact, the chancellor seems so committed to the anti-labor action of reducing the full-time workforce that he told department chairs that these cuts will endure for the 3-year duration of laid-off faculty's reappointment rights, regardless of enrollment demand. And the English classes on the fall schedule are filling up rapidly, showing us the demand is there. For the English department alone, when you add up these cuts over 3 years, that's 11,904 students who will lose access to public higher education in San Francisco. We cannot let this happen. We cannot turn so many students away and expect the college to survive. We need support for the revenue measure, and we need our Board of Trustees to step up and restore the fall schedule. Please support this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next up, we have Lori Admocom.
Admocom. Yeah. Hi, I'm also a CCSF laid off tenure ESL faculty. I've been at City College for 20 years, and I also am asking your support for Resolution 10. It's nonsense what's going on at City College. We kind of feel like we're under a dictatorship because there's a budget surplus, but yet 40% of the ESL classes have been cut, and they were cut last year as well. So we're on a skeleton schedule, and our immigrant communities really need us. Also, just across the board, English being cut, fire services being cut, science is being cut, the nursing program is struggling, and right now we need all these classes to advance our community and also to help out with fire services and nurses. There's going to be a nursing shortage, and there's definitely going to be a teacher shortage. Schedules were posted, and now those classes have been taken away. Students are scrambling to find classes and probably will go to other schools to find them so that they can continue their either education or vocational tract. Teachers right now, how we were laid off was in a really disrespectful way because classes were open and there was this thought that we were going to be teaching these classes, but the day after school stopped, the chancellor said, no, I'm going to cut all these classes, really decimating many of our programs. And right now, teachers are scrambling to find other jobs. They're also scrambling to find healthcare. There's a petition out to help them. We're losing great institutional knowledge. I've been there 20 years. There's a person in ESL who's been there 40 years. And we lost 2 tenure faculty. We're losing 40 part-timers. It's really sad. So we need your support. We need your help. And again, this affects our underserved BIPOC immigrant communities, and that's who we're here for. So thank you for your support.
Thank you for your comments. Next up, we have Huang Nguyen, followed by Sean Duggar, and then Malinali.
Good evening, San Francisco Democrats. My name is Huang Nguyen, and I am the Director of External Affairs for AAPI Equity Alliance. As was said, we are an advocacy organization with over 40 plus nonprofit members serving the 1.5 million AAPI residents in Los Angeles County. We are a co-founding partner of Stop AAPI Hate, a national organization which collected over 11,000 hate incidents against AAPIs in the last 2 years. About 2/3 consisted of verbal harassment, with almost half taking place in publicly accessible spaces, such as on public transit and in businesses. That is why I'm calling in support of item 9 to support SB 1161 and AB 2448. SB 1161 and its $30 million one-time budget request over 4 years requires large transit agencies to gather data and design solutions to enhance rider safety and address harassment that happens on public transit. And by doing so, it will increase ridership. AB 2448 requires large businesses to do more to protect customers from bias-related harassment by other customers, something that is not currently covered by California's civil rights law. These bills are essential stepping stones to ensuring California is being responsive to the alarming rise of hate incidents documented in our state, not just against AAPIs, but against women, Black and other people of color, LGBTQ plus community members, and other vulnerable people throughout our state. For these reasons, please support item 9, and thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next up is Sean Duggar.
Good evening, fellow Democrats. Happy Pride Month. Looking forward to seeing some of you hopefully at the breakfast on Sunday. My name is Sean Duggar. I have the honor of representing the state of California on the Democratic National Committee, as elected by you, our California Democrats. As some of you may know, we have a vacancy open amongst our delegation. And I am here to encourage you all who will be attending the e-board meeting to cast your vote there at that meeting in support of Rhodesia Ransom, who is running to fill that vacancy. We don't have representation from the Central Valley at all amongst our California DNC members. I think that's incredibly important. Rhodesia is a former county party chair and knows what it takes to swing a county from being solidly red to being a lighter shade of blue, not as deep and dark blue as you all are, and doing it in a progressive way, with progressive messaging and not utilizing kind of some of the tactics that we've seen at the national level. So I know she'll be speaking later. I think she has her hand up in the chat. But I encourage you all to cast your vote for Rhodesia Ransom. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next up is Malinali.
Saludos, good afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and have my camera off because my reception is not the best. Once again, saludos, fellow Democrats. My name is Malinali, and I'm Malinali, pronouns are él, he, him. I'm a student at City College of San Francisco, and I also serve as the student trustee that sits on the board. And so what I'm here for is to show support for item number 10, which is the resolution urging the City College Board of Trustees to protect access to public higher education in San Francisco. So CCSF is a majority student of color pillar of San Francisco. It is the largest and most accessible resource for degrees and job training in our city. It's a beacon of hope for Black and Brown, working class, immigrant, and disabled San Franciscans. Our city grapples with widening inequality and gentrification. Institutions that lift up underserved communities need more support, not downsizing. So as you heard from some of the faculty that have been expressing themselves through public comment, students are the ones that are going to be this is a very touching, but students are going to have to deal with these circumstances. The educational journey in itself right now, it's a difficult one, but with these barriers of cutting classes and cutting programs, it's just going to make it harder for students to complete their educational journey. About a month ago, we had our first commencement in person in the last few years, with a lot of faces, with vibrant faces and smiles, just filled with accomplishment of finishing their degrees and being able to transfer. Unfortunately, because of what's happening, the number of students that are part of the commencement are going to decrease enormously.
Thank you for your comments, Malinali.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Mari Okuda, followed by Rhodesia Ransom. Go ahead, Mari.
Okay. Hi, good evening. My name is Mario Okuda. I will comment on item number 10, resolution calling on the City College Board of Trustees to support access to public higher education. I want to share my experience at the City College of San Francisco as a returned and immigrant student. As you can see, I have a thick accent. I was scared of speaking in public, but thanks to my experience at the City College, I'm comfortable enough to share my thoughts today. What I have experienced at the City College is beyond getting knowledge. In the classroom, I have gained confidence and found a new career goal, which has become my personal development. After underselling myself for many years, I wanted to find a new career goal. Then I tried out a psychology class. I was fortunate to meet a great professor who inspired me in the subject. It led me to pursue a career in the area. Sorry. Now I am supporting domestic violence survivors at the local organization to give back to the community and further my education. I appreciate all the experience I had at the City College. I believe in the power of education. Canceling the classes at the City College feels like taking away the chances for us to explore our abilities and achieve goals. It means discouraging us from having hope for the future and expanding perspectives, which I believe is crucial for a better future for the society. I am asking all to support item number 10, agenda resolution calling on the City College Board of Trustees to support access to public higher education. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Our last speaker is Rhodesia Ransom, unless there are other folks who would like to raise their hand at this time. Go ahead, Rhodesia.
Good evening. First of all, thank you all for making space for the comments tonight. My name is Rhodesia Ransom, and I'm here tonight to speak to you as Democrats, those of you who have a vote on the executive board at the next upcoming executive board meeting, or if you have friends who are have an opportunity who are e-board members, I'm here to ask you to support me for the executive board. Again, my name is Rhodesia Ransom. I was born and raised in San Francisco, grew up in Bayview Hunters Point, went to Galileo High School, graduated class of 1992 with the Mayor London Breed of San Francisco. And more than 20 years ago, I moved here to the Central Valley where I'm located now, to a city called Tracy. When I moved here, it was a pretty red place. However, over the years it has grown. When I first got here, I was the 3rd member of the Tracy Democratic Club and the 7th member of the Central Committee. We have grown leaps and bounds since then. And there's a huge opportunity in the Central Valley to help the DNC. And that's why I'm running for the DNC position. Here in the Central Valley, we are a purple area. We're leaning more blue. So we have an opportunity to make gains at the national level. When we look at what's happening and knowing that we're going to lose a House, we need to pick up new seats. And we can do that right here in the Central Valley. And with redistricting just happening, we just got another seat in the Central Valley out in the Merced area. So it's super important that the Central Valley has a voice at the DNC and is able to come together and work with the existing DNC members to let them know what's happening in our region of the Valley, because we definitely, this part of California has distinctive needs that are a little bit different than other areas of California, but we can definitely help the entire delegation as well as the entire nation. Professionally, I serve as a district director for Congressman Josh Harder in the 10th Congressional District. So I can tell you firsthand, he is 1/3 of the majority in Congress, and we need to add to that majority. And the reason we say that is because this is an area where we are taking Republicans out, and we can continue to do that, especially as people escape high housing costs in the Bay Area and move to our region here. I've been on the... Okay, thank you, sir.
Chair, there are no more hands raised. So that concludes public comment.
Thank you so much, Executive Director Garcia. And thank you to the members of the public that showed up to provide public comment. We really appreciate all of your feedback. We will now move on to item number 5, which is the general, the reports from the members, DCC member reports, including discussion and possible actions. And we'll start with the chair's report. And my main update is that we have an upcoming election coming in November. And so as a part of that, we will be going through our regular endorsement process, which I believe we will have an update later from the endorsements committee. But in preparation for that, we wanted to make sure that we had everything set for when we do provide our mailers. And so we have Vice Chair Galata, as well as Treasurer Morales and Member Thomas and myself, who are a part of the slate bidding committee. And we will be reissuing an RFP for the general election shortly. And we will be making a decision and awarding the contract by July so that we have everything prepared for the upcoming election. With that said, I also wanted to provide a brief reflection on what's been happening lately. As folks know, we have been experiencing a lot of violence continuously. I'm almost tired about talking about it. From specifically targeted at the trans community and most recently Drag Queen Story Hour, but also, you know, the bomb threats that were made against Senator Wiener as well. You know, this is unfortunately not uncommon. It is, I think, especially poignant that this is happening during Pride Month. And it is something that I think, you know, unfortunately is a part of a trend of, I think, scapegoating that has been done by the right for many, many years, of, you know, pointing the finger and finding someone to blame in order to make up for the fact that they being the right have done everything to obstruct progress in this country and have nothing to run on. And so they run on discrimination and hate. And I think it's incumbent on us to continue to push forward I know we've written tons of resolutions in support of the LGBT community over the last few months, but this is Pride Month. And we did issue, I think, a letter and a message to our Democrats from the party, specifically in support of Senator Weiner, and also standing up for Drag Queen Story Hour. I will just briefly share that, I was lucky enough to be one of the founding members of Drag Queen Story Hour with Radar Productions, along with queens like Mother Chaka and Persia here in San Francisco. And I'm really proud of the work that we've done going into schools and going into public libraries, really is where it started. And just being there with children and showing that there's nothing wrong about being LGBT, and that we are a part of everyone's family. We are aunts and uncles and parents ourselves, and we have a very natural and beautiful relationship with the children in our families. And so I just want to uplift the work that Radar Productions and Drag Queen Story Hour has done over the last few years, and to really honor those queens that continue to do that work, and also to give a little bit of a shout out to Panda Dulce, who was attacked by the Proud Boys in San Lorenzo. So again, it's a really sad thing that this is where we are as a country. It seems like we are taking some significant steps back, but I do have faith in our Democratic Party and in our country in making ultimately taking the steps to do what's right and protecting the rights of Americans. So I know we have a tough road ahead of us with everything that's going on, but I am, I guess, reassured by how many Democrats have showed up in solidarity with the LGBTQ community this month. And I really hope that, this is part of a movement towards, I think, working together more and acknowledging where we are closer together and where we do agree, because I think oftentimes we get lost in the minutia of disagreements that sometimes are really, really very obscure and in the details, where we generally agree on a lot of the big picture items. So again, thank you for all the Democrats who expressed support for the LGBTQ community this month. And I just didn't want to go without acknowledging the fact that these events had happened. So with that, I will conclude my chair's report, and we will move on to well, since member or Vice Chair Lacroix is not here and Vice Chair Baraka is also not here, we will move, and Vice Chair Levitt is also not here. We will actually skip those and move on to partnerships with Vice Chair Galata.
And Chair, I am proxying for Vice Chair Levitt for issues, and she asked that her report be included with mine when we get to endorsements.
Wonderful. Thank you, Member Berry.
All right, thanks, Chair Mahogany. Good evening, colleagues. Just a quick update just on partnerships, and just thank you again to Susan Pfeiffer, as always, for her continued support of the Bay Area Coalition, which again, as a reminder to everyone, is a coalition of Bay Area Democratic organizations, a number of county committees, as well as kind of partner groups like Swing Left and Democracy Action, who have been convening since earlier this year to start phone banking and making calls into key districts that we need to win in November, primarily calling into Arizona, Nevada, and right here in California. So kind of post-primary, things are kicking up. As Susan mentioned, the phone banks continue virtually every week on Wednesday evenings and Saturday mornings. We really invite folks to help, spread the word about these phone banks and to join us. We're certainly inviting our San Francisco Democratic clubs and groups to potentially co-host phone banks. I would invite DCCC members as well to consider hosting a virtual phone bank as part of the Bay Area Coalition. Be following up with folks about that, and certainly things will be increasing as we move closer to November. Just some of the, I think, as Rhodesia mentioned tonight in her comments, we really do need to pick up votes here in California. And a few of the key races that are coming up kind of into focus here in California, I just wanted to call out based on kind of the primary results, I think these are going to be districts that we're really focusing on. So CD22, Rudy Salas, CD13, Adam Gray, and CD9, Josh Harder. I know many folks here turned out for Josh Harder back in 2018. And so we need to continue to help elect these 3 Democrats in these districts and also other districts throughout California as well. But I just wanted to mention that the coalition is really going to be looking at those 3 districts. We also have been in conversation with Team Pelosi about potentially partnering again this year on turnout for the midterms. And so we're excited to continue those conversations and potentially having a physical space where people may be able to go and phone bank in person this year, since things, we're feeling like it's safer now to potentially gather in person, but also we'll be continuing, of course, to offer virtual options for folks. But I'm excited. I know that some folks are interested in being back in the room together to make calls. And so we're excited about having a potential space to do that in the coming months and to really bring San Francisco Democrats together again to really push back on everything we're seeing happening right now and to make sure we win so we can keep the House and the Senate in November. So more to come, and just appreciate everyone's continued kind of support and look out for more information.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair Galata, for that report. We will now move on to our report from our Treasurer, Member Morales.
Thank you, Chair, and good evening, everybody. We are in a really great place and continuing to build upon that, thanks to great fundraising efforts by fundraising Chair Thomas and our Chair Honey Mahogany. So currently we have $77,000 in our state account, cash on hand, and $4,000 in our federal account. And we're looking forward to our August fundraising event, which will continue to bring more funds. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Morales, for that Treasurer's report. It is nice to hear that we have some money in the bank for once. And hopefully it will continue to stay that way, though I know we have some expenses coming up. We will now move on to reports from our committees, starting with fundraising, and Member Thomas, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair Thank you, Chair Mahogany, and thank you, Caro, as well. We definitely put a lot of work into the phone banking and call time over the last few weeks, and it's good to see that we have some funds put in. I do want to acknowledge for the record, Brian Perkins' light filter is just amazing, and I'm glad that we're recording this Zoom, so there's something for posterity there.
It's my Oompa Loompa look.
I want to also thank Brian for his help in helping to organize our major fall fundraiser, which we will be acknowledging the lifetime achievement of Congresswoman Jackie Spear. Please, if you have not marked your calendar, August 26th, it's a Friday, mark it down. Our materials are being prepared, and we expect to have the formal sort of save the date invites all sent out by the end of the month. Additionally, we have secured the Palace Hotel as a venue for the event. We are very excited about proceeding forward with this. This will be the first major event since we awarded Speaker Pelosi with the Lifetime Achievement Award, if some of you remember back a few years ago. I'm happy to report that we also were able to negotiate a clause in the contract to protect the DCCC in the event of another outbreak status in San Francisco relating to COVID. So we have some protections on the back end. However, this is the primary fundraiser for the DCCC. It's our primary annual way. We've been doing aggressive, phone call time and other sort of improvisational fundraisers over the last couple of years, doing things either online or more informal events, or just straight up calling allies of the Democratic Party and asking them to support us. However, as we return out the back end, fingers crossed, of the pandemic, we're also returning to our primary annual gala as our major fundraising that generates the predominant chunk of our operating budget for the year. So this is a huge event, and we're really looking forward to having everybody step up. It's an all hands on deck fundraiser. The goal is to raise between 200 and 250,000 through this event to keep in line with years prior to the pandemic. And so we want to kind of create discrete tasks for all the members of the DCCC. So like, you know, what you can do to help out within, you know, your busy schedule. The first thing is that a lot of you have already gotten a call from either myself or Moises or Kathleen or Brian or Honey asking you to help. If you haven't yet, you'll likely get one soon. And what we're going to be looking for is that you can think of at least one person or one organization that can sponsor a table for the event. So we have the sponsorship tiers now as well. They were not attached to the agenda, but I can let you know that tables, to reserve a table, it starts at the $6,000 mark. So a little bit higher than it was 3 years ago. It was $5,000. The price has gone up largely due to inflation and the costs of conducting this. So everybody start thinking about one organization, one person. All of you had to fundraise to get onto the DCCC, so we know that you can raise some money, but we definitely want at least one referral, and if not more. And we're happy to help you. We're happy to make the calls, but we just want to make sure that everybody has somebody there. Additionally, we are also going to try to fundraise directly from everybody to try and put together a DCCC table. Some of the folks on the DCCC here will be able to actually sponsor a table, and maybe you have somebody you can fundraise with and you'll have your own table there. We ask you to look to a DCCC member who maybe isn't as connected in fundraising side of the operation and bring them into your table. Also, I will be taking the lead in organizing a DCCC table for folks as well. So if you're in need of a table or a seat on it and you want to go in on a communal table, please reach out to me and let me know, because we're happy to do that. But we're really looking for folks to at least step up to the plate if you can, and think of one organization or one person who'd be willing to jump in at a table. And of course, if you're thinking of anybody who can come in at the higher levels beyond just the one table mark, we have additional tiers for that. There's and Kathleen's probably got them memorized right now, but I can't remember all the different tiers after that. But we are aggressively trying to do call time around that. So definitely asking folks to please step up for that. And the other components I just want to acknowledge that was mentioned earlier by Susan Pfeiffer is that there's going to be a lot of legislation analyzed at the state party level at the July e-board. Definitely encourage everybody, especially some of the bills that are even before us tonight are possibly being discussed at the July e-board as well. So if you're going to be attending that, we'd really love to have testimony and have the party weigh in on this. So let's think about that as we're discussing the various resolutions supporting state bills today. Thanks. And that's it for my report.
Thank you, Member Thomas. Appreciate all of your hard work on this. And thank you to all of the members of the Spears event team. We are so grateful for all of the work that you have put in. So thanks again. We will now move on to a report from, oops, I'm looking at the wrong part. Interns and endorsements. I believe that is the combined report from Member Berry.
Thank you, Chair. First, I would like to recognize Juneteenth. I do not say happy Juneteenth because for me, it's awkward to say that because President Lincoln issued the final Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, but our fine folks in Texas did not tell their slaves until June 19th, 1865. So that's why we celebrate that for them. Moving right along, I'd like to give a shout out to Member Lee for wearing her Warriors gear, Member Thomas for having Warrior colors on his union signage, and for a chair, yeah, the wrap I think is representing that blood goated. So endorsements. It's that time, everybody. It's a lot. It's a lot. And this is what we got going on. In August, our meeting date is the 24th. The deadlines for candidates and ballot measures to file is August 12th. If we as a body would like candidates to be able to have their, or have us endorse them and have that printed in the voter's guide, we would need to have their endorsements, really the whole endorsement process done by the August 15th. That would entail us conducting interviews after 4 p.m. on a Friday, August 12th, and endorsement votes for Board of Supervisors, Public Defender, City Assessor, Board of Education, Board of Trustees, BART Board, a lot of ballot measures, and most likely DA. This meeting, if done fairly, would last at least till Saturday morning. So this is what we are proposing. I met with the endorsement committee and with Chair Lovett. We are proposing that we do early endorsements. This would split it up, similar to what we did. It's been 2 years. We did it 2 years ago. And we would have on Saturday, July 23rd, the Board of Supervisors, Public Defender, and the City Assessor. And then on our regular meeting, we do the endorsement vote, July 27th. And then in August, on Saturday, the 6th, we would conduct interviews for all the rest of them. And then what would entail me moving the meeting from August 24th to August 10th, if the chair and the body agrees to that. If candidates that wait until August 12th, which is the filing deadline, it's their right, but it will be unable for us to give the public notice and give them opportunity to have our endorsement in the handbook anyway. So that is our report, and I'm hoping that everyone would like to do it this way.
Thank you, Member Barry. Is there a motion that's necessary for this, since this is under your jurisdiction? Or are there any objections or members of the body who would like to provide comment on these timelines? Okay, I don't see any objections. So I believe we have, Vice Chair Galata.
Sorry, just thank you, Chair Mahogany. Thank you, Co-Chair Barry and the endorsements committee. I just had a question about the August timeline that you were just mentioning. So in moving up the meeting, the filing deadline is the 12th, but we would potentially then be voting on endorsements on the 10th. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes, it would technically be an early endorsement. However, if they would like our endorsement to be included in the voter handbook, we would have to do it before that day, or we would not be able to notice the public of the meeting after the 12th, because the deadline is the 15th to get it to the elections office.
Okay. Thank you. That clarifies for me, because I thought that it was the 19th, so that makes sense why we'd need to get it in sooner if it's the 15th. So thank you.
And I would defer if it's the 15th or the 19th with Executive Director Moises. We had a meeting earlier today.
Yeah, I just threw in what we have as proposed dates into the chat, just so folks can follow along. I think that the July dates are pretty firmed up, and then we're still just going to confirm all of the August dates. I think the one thing to really note is that we would cancel our regular August meeting and reschedule it earlier in the month to meet the deadlines that Member Barry mentioned.
Great. Thank you for that report. Member Thomas, do you have a question?
No, I just wanted to thank Member Barry for the forward thinking on that. I think it amplifies the impact of the party endorsement to make that deadline and get in there. And also compliment you on the chalice that you were gesticulating with as you're explaining it to us.
Through the chair, I appreciate that. I received this at the game, one of the finals game I was at. And I wanted to reiterate, or rather emphasize, that the recalls put a whole different momentum into this process. And we wish we could have even worked on things even sooner, but yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you again for that report. And I don't see any other questions. So we appreciate the advance notice on the timeline, and we will make note of that, and we will move forward accordingly. We will now move on to, oh, I'm sorry, was there also a report from interns or anything, Member Barry? On behalf of Member Lovett?
As of today, I haven't been introduced to an intern, and I spoke with the executive director, Moises Garcia, and he said they're working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I can provide that in my update.
All right,
Chair.
Thank you so much. We will now go to the update from the executive director. Executive Director Garcia, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you, Chair Mahogany. I just threw in the chat a link to our fellowship internship. Let me get the right actually names correct. Our Nancy Pelosi College Fellowship and Sue Berman Memorial High School internship. So the deadline for applications is next Wednesday, and our goal is to onboard at least 2 college fellows and 2 interns. We'd like to have the program run from July 6th until mid-August. And we would really like to have the program really continue on through November to have their support with the November general election. We had a really great conversation with Team Pelosi last Friday, and so are firming up all the financial the support, as well as some additional support from the party to really ensure that we have really wonderful interns who will support us as we get a lot busier with both the general election as well as our fundraising efforts. In addition to that, my report pretty much includes also just supporting our fundraising team and as well as our finance team. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Director Garcia. I believe that concludes, oh, I'm sorry, we do have, is CDP Region 6 Director Henny Kelly here?
No, she's not.
Okay, then we will skip over that report and we will go to item number 6. And actually items number 6 through 8 are presentations on upcoming statewide ballot measures or ballot initiatives. And each presenter will have about 5 minutes to present to the body, and we will be able to follow up with a brief Q&A after the presentation. So our first item is a presentation on the Clear Air and Clean Cars Act. Welcome Oscar Garcia from the California Environmental Voters to speak on item 6.
Chair, there's actually an update. This item and the next update will be presented by Joe Armenta.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And he's just been promoted to a panelist.
Hello, and Chair, would you like me to just do both initiatives at once, or would you want me to pause and then go?
It would be better if we could just separate them, just so folks can ask questions specific to each item, and we can time it better that way.
Great.
Thank you.
I will try to be brief, but hello, San Francisco Democrats. My name is Joe Armenta. Some of you may know me from past state party shenanigans, but today I'm here with the Clean Air California campaign, and they are supporting the Clean Cars and Clean Air Act, which will be on the ballot in November. It's currently being verified through the Secretary of State's office. But basically what this initiative is doing is it's trying to address 2 big challenges, one kind of old and one newer. The old challenge obviously is pollution in our communities, and we know that many low-income communities across California, due to historic discrimination, suffer from pollution, mostly from vehicle emissions. This has a adverse impact on health outcomes, lower life expectancy in communities that are impacted by more pollution, but also lower levels of educational attainment. But also we know that vehicle emissions contribute to climate change. And I don't have to tell you all about the impact of climate change on our communities. As Californians, we are really at the forefront of this. You all see the smoke every year. You all have probably been to communities that have been impacted by the wildfires that seem to start up every summer. And so what this initiative is doing is it's making an attempt to lower vehicle emissions in our state by speeding up the transition to zero emission vehicles. And it's doing this by raising income taxes on income above $2 million. So it's a 1.75% income tax increase on income above $2 million to fund zero emission vehicle projects and also wildfire prevention. A portion of the money that will be generated will go towards subsidizing the cost of zero emission vehicles and actually giving subsidies to low income communities to purchase things like electric cars. We know that electric cars are very expensive and that many low-income communities just don't have access to it. So a big portion of the funding actually goes to subsidizing that cost. Another portion of the funding will go towards increasing our zero-emission vehicle infrastructure, funding things like charging stations and hydro and other zero emission infrastructure out there. And then a portion of the funding actually goes to wildfire prevention too. So a whole $1 billion a year would go to CAL FIRE. Basically, we went to the firefighters union and asked them what they needed, and they wrote in a lot of language that would help them out with this. This measure is being supported by unions like IBEW, by environmental groups like the California Environmental Voters, many environmental justice groups, along with organizations like the American Lung Association. It would generate $5 billion per year over the next 20 years. And again, it is a millionaire's tax. So if there's anybody in here making above $2 million, I'm sorry, this initiative would raise your taxes. But it is really going to meet our climate goals for the future. So with that, I'm happy to yield my time and answer any questions on it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Armenta. Colleagues, do we have questions? I see Member Berries in the stack.
Yes, thank you for your there you go. Thank you for your presentation. Whenever people say low income and specifically a subsidy, can we get a exact amount of how much that subsidy would be and what qualifies as low income?
Yes, there is specific language written into it, and I can pull it up right in front of me. Just give me 1 second. But basically, it would define low income as 80% of the state medium income. So it takes median income and then it's 80% of that. That's what defines as low income. And then 50% of the funding generated for vehicle emission subsidies would go towards that.
So how much would the subsidy be for the car so that a person, if we're going to say a low income person would be able to purchase a electrical vehicle car, how much would that subsidy be for that individual person?
I don't have the exact dollar amount, and much of that decision, I believe, is left to one of the state agencies. It is either CARB or the environmental state agency that will be giving out this grant.
Thank you.
Thank you for those questions, Member Berry. Are there any other members who'd like to ask a question? Seeing none. Mr. Armenta, I thank you for your time on that item. We will now move on to item number 7, I believe, which is a presentation on the California Pandemic Early Detection and Prevention Act. Mr. Armenta, the floor is again yours.
Yes. So this one is another millionaire's tax, and really it's being used to address an issue that we are all still continually impacted by, which is the pandemic and future pandemics that could break out. Again, part of the reason why we're having this meeting virtually rather than in person is because of the pandemic and because of our safety. And really, if you go back to, the days of March 2020, the whole country was just unprepared for what was going to come. We didn't have the infrastructure, we didn't have the resources to fight this pandemic, and that's why it spread, and that's why it was so devastating. I mean, thousands of Californians died, our schools were shut, and many kids suffered because of that. And so what this initiative is doing is it's raising taxes on those that make over $5 million. So it puts a 0.75% tax on income over $5 million. And it uses that funding up to $1.5 billion per year to fund anti-pandemic initiatives. So a part of the funding goes to just research and researching early detection programs, making it so that we can speed up the resources to fight off a pandemic, so that one, we know that when a pandemic strikes, we'll know sooner, and that we'll have testing available, and that we'll have resources to develop vaccines. Another portion of the funding goes to schools and making sure that we have equipment that makes sure that schools are safe learning environments and safe working environments for kids. And then another portion of the funding goes to county health departments for programs like contact tracing, and just to ensure that they are equipped to handle another outbreak. Again, this would be a less than 1% tax on income over $5 million. It would generate up to $1.5 billion per year over the next 10 years, and it goes to pandemic preparedness programs. With that, I'm happy to answer questions from Central Committee.
Thank you again, Mr. Armenta. Colleagues, do we have any questions? I see a question from Member Berry.
Thank you. I like to tax the rich, of course. However, I'm sorry if I got lost in your presentation, but can you give an example of a pandemic preparedness program?
Yeah, so for half the funding, it will go to create a state agency that's just going to give out research grants to make sure that we have the future tools for early detection programs. So that's half the funding. A quarter of it goes to schools for both HVAC units, things like air filtration systems to make sure schools are equipped with the equipment to make them safe learning environments. And then another quarter of the funding goes to just county health departments. These will be given out in grants, but they can be used for things like contact tracing programs. And just, again, counties are usually at the forefront for giving out resources and dealing with the pandemic. So it would be giving grant money to counties to increase their pandemic preparedness.
Thank you.
Member Thomas.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I appreciate it, but I'm having trouble, and I apologize if you already said this, just grabbing the bill numbers for them. Can you say those off the top of your head? I just don't have them right here.
So these are both citizen-led initiatives. They are the Clean Cars and Clean Air Act. It's gathered enough signatures, they submitted it to the Secretary of State. Secretary of State's going through the verification product. And then the Californians Against Pandemics one. It's another signature one, and it is the California, I got this. California Pandemic Detection and Prevention Act is the other one.
Thank you. I had them mixed in with the legislative side, so sorry about that.
No worries.
Thank you again, Member Berries and Thomas. Proxy for Member Ibanez, Susan Solomon.
Thank you, Chair. So I had a question about the grant portion of this. Are these grants given by application only?
So the language is actually pretty vague. It goes to the State Department, the California Health and Human Services Department, I believe. And it is up to the administrator to design these grants and give them out to communities. It does include language on what they should be spent for, but it's really up to the agency to decide how it gets distributed out to counties.
Thank you, Ms. Solomon. Colleagues, are there any other questions? Seeing none, thank you again, Mr. Armenta, for your presentation on both items. We appreciate your time. We will now move on to item number 8, which is the Californians for Tribal Sovereignty and Safe Gaming. And we have a presentation from Sandra Sanchez from AKPD Message and Media. Do we have Ms. Sanchez?
Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can.
Oh, and let me make my video live. Okay. Hi, good evening, Democrats. Thank you for this opportunity to speak about this statewide initiative that will be on the ballot in November. As the chair mentioned, I represent Californians for Tribal Sovereignty and Safe Gaming, and we are opposed to the initiative that would permanently legalize online sports betting in California. The measure will come before the California Democratic Party e-board for a position at the e-board meeting scheduled in July in Los Angeles. I know there are a lot of e-board members here tonight, hence why it may sound a little early to talk about statewide ballot measures that will be on the ballot in November, but that's why I'm here tonight. California Native American tribes are united in their opposition to this measure. It was authored by out-of-state corporations. You may have heard of them: FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, amongst others, that would permanently legalize online sports betting in California. It's clear that these out-of-state corporations don't care about California. And that's why 90% of the profits that would be made from legalizing sports betting would go out of state. And just 10% would be left here in California. And what's interesting is that that 10% is subject to numerous deductions and loopholes, which means that we would get far less. Deceptively, or one of the deceptive measures here is that the out-of-state corporations have titled their measure Solutions to Homelessness and Mental Health Act. What they are proposing is that the less than 10% of the profits would go to fund homelessness and housing in California. But when you look at it very carefully and you see what they've done in other states, we wouldn't be getting very much money. In fact, the estimates at best would show that it would increase funding for homelessness and housing by about 3% more than what the state is currently already spending. And we all know that this crisis needs a lot more money than that. But most importantly, this measure would hurt California tribes. And that's really who I'm representing tonight. In order for a California tribe to participate and offer online sports betting, or the measure explicitly states in their language that the tribe must irrevocably surrender its sovereign rights. And that's section 19769. So it uses that exact language. This measure also breaks the promise that Californians made with tribes when we passed Proposition 1A in 2000, which gave California tribes exclusive gaming rights. The out-of-state corporations, they've made it pretty clear that this measure is a first step to full online gambling in California, and this would devastate our California tribes. Today, our tribes here operate 66 casinos in 28 counties that generate almost 200,000 jobs, $23.2 billion in economic activity, and $4.5 billion in tax revenue for the state. This measure is designed to block all but the top 4 to 5 largest national firms from getting a sports betting license, which relegates the status of tribes and their ability to be self-reliant in California. Tribes rely on gaming revenues to fund their sovereign governments. There is virtually no other tax base to fund their tribal communities. Gaming funds go to provide roads, housing, and physical infrastructure on tribal reservations, as well as healthcare, education, and resources for tribal members. California tribes are united in opposing this measure. This measure is also opposed by the California Teachers Association. And it's worth mentioning that the out-of-state corporations that authored this measure, they deliberately cut out Prop 98 funding. So none of the money raised from this would go to education. This measure is also opposed by the Communication Workers of America, the NAACP, as well as 54 organizations and 36 elected officials so far. We're asking that California Democrats stand with California tribes in opposing this harmful measure. If you're an e-board member, we ask that you please oppose this measure when it comes before the e-board at the meeting in July. For more information, you can visit our website, which is protecttribalsovereignty.com. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Sanchez. Colleagues, do we have any questions? I see Member Barry's hand.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. My mother's family is Sanchez, so you my people. But I had a question that no one really talks about. If this is all brought online here in California, is there any data how much that will increase addiction?
Well, one of the things that's being brought up, which I didn't mention, is there have been problems with gambling addiction in other states, because there's about 13 other states that have legalized online gambling. And these corporations have gone from state to state and have been doing this around the country, and now they're coming to California. There's no real data to show the increase, but one of the other big issues is about youth gambling, because there's no in-person verification for your age when you're gambling online. And they do say they have some safeguards, but they have been fined in other states for underage gambling. So there's a lot of questions about the safety that they have in their technology to prevent underage gambling.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I have questions all the time, so.
No, it's good. It's good. I'm glad that you have questions. Thanks for helping us be more educated on these ballot measures and initiatives. Any other questions, colleagues? All right, seeing none, thank you very much, Ms. Sanchez, for your presentation.
Thank you.
Concludes item number 8. Have a good evening. We will now move on to item number 9, which is a resolution in support of SB 1161 and its corresponding budget request, and AB 2448 to address harassment on transit and in businesses. And this is brought forward by Member Lee. Colleagues, can we have a motion to consider the item?
So moved.
Thank you. Was that by Mr. Perkins?
I'll second it, but I think it was, I'll second.
Thank you.
It was Member Galata.
Okay, Member Galata. Thank you very much, Vice Chair Galata.
Congresswoman Spear, second.
And Congresswoman Spear, second. Thank you very much. Member Lee, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Chair Mahogany. Good evening, everyone. I'm really honored to bring this for this resolution that's before you. I think you all know, outside of just wearing a Warriors hat, I wear a lot of metaphorical hats, and this resolution is sort of like the coalescing of all of those hats. So the resolution before you is to support the Stop API Hates No Place for Hate legislative package to address bias, motivated harassment in public spaces, and really specifically the budget asks that are attached to that legislative package. I really want to thank the speakers for calling in, Carly from CAA, Candace and Hong from API Equity Alliance. It's a coalescing of all the hats, because I think you all know I care a lot about public transit as a regular rider. And we're seeing the violence on public transit and how that's even affecting us here in San Francisco just today. But along with being a trans fan, I'm on the BART board, and I'm really proud that the BART board unanimously has supported SB 1161. BART would actually be one of the 10 transit districts that would be required to study and really understand the effects of gender-based violence on their system, and actually develop and implement plans to address, what comes out of that. And SB 1161 is actually specifically based on BART's initiatives, including the Not One More Girl campaign, which has been a really incredible community-based effort led by Alliance for Girls. I know Chair Mahogany, you've whether it's Black Girls Brilliance or Transgender Cultural District, you've been really involved in the Not One More Girl campaign yourself as well, where there's been a really gender expansive understanding of gender-based violence on public transit. There's a huge marketing campaign. It's asking folks to actually acknowledge and understand when this is occurring. And there's been an entire training video so that other riders understand, what they can do as a bystander to intervene safely and prevent gender-based violence from occurring. So with my BART hat on, I'm really proud to, that the BART board has supported this bill. But in addition, I think many of you know my day job now, I work for Chinese for Affirmative Action as part of a coalition called Coalition for Community Safety and Justice, which is made up of CAA, Chinese Progressive Association, Chinatown CDC, and CYC, four longstanding organizations really working in the API communities in San Francisco. Combined, they have over 200 years of experience in advancing civil rights and providing services and working within and being part of the fabric of the API communities here in San Francisco. These four organizations came together to create a coalition to specifically address anti-Asian hate and violence here in San Francisco through programmatic efforts. We have a direct victim services program. We do a lot of cross-racial programming with other community-based organizations representing other communities of color. And we really work to hold our city government accountable to the things that they say they're going to do to address anti-Asian hate and violence. So, I think you heard a lot from all the speakers here today about why this is such a big problem, but we know that, here, I'm just sort of looking through these comments here. We know that street harassment is pervasive, it's normalized, and is inadequately addressed, and a problem that seriously impacts a person's mental health. I mean, just raise your hand, who here has been, the victim of some sort of sexual harassment when they're walking around the streets in San Francisco? Like, we know that if you're a queer person, if you're a woman, if you're a person of color, you are more often targeted with these attacks. We also know through Stop API's work that kind of harassment often happens on public transit spaces and at private businesses. So, we know that harassment can happen, when you're shopping in a grocery store, and it's like, you're in a grocery store, you're just, shopping for food so you can eat. Yet these are the places, these are sort of the public spaces where these attacks happen the most. Street harassment is by definition unwanted, and yet it does take place in these public spaces. So I'm not going to go through all these stats because you already heard them from Candace Hong and Carly. But I will say, speaking to this specific legislative package, this legislative agenda, the No Place for Hate agenda, includes SB 1161, which was introduced by Senator Min down in Southern California.
Sorry, folks, can you make sure that you're muted if you're not speaking? Thank you.
So that's going to address harassment on public transit, really asking the top 10 transit districts in the state to understand what this problem is and actually take action to address the problem. And also Assembly Bill 2448, which is introduced by my own Assembly Member Phil Ting, which will expand civil rights protections at businesses. These two bills together will build critical infrastructure to address hate and bigotry through public health and civil rights frameworks rather than criminalization. I already talked about SB 1161, so just briefly about AB 2448. AB 2448 will prevent street harassment in businesses by requiring the Department of Fair Employment and Housing, DFEH, to create a model training for employees and supervisors on how to spot, report, and respond to incidents of discrimination and harassment against their customers. This is providing resources so that businesses know how to respond. Additionally, this bill requires DFEH to develop a pilot program that publicly recognizes businesses for creating safe and welcoming spaces. And lastly, this bill will also require large businesses to train all employees with the model training from DFEH, post signage so that customers who face acts of discrimination and harassment understand their rights and report incidents of discrimination and harassment perpetrated by customers to DFVH. So these state bills are still alive. They're making their ways through a state legislature. And really our support today, I think that this is an obvious thing for us to all support, but we really need to also make sure that the budget asked tied to these two bills make it through so that these programs are actually successful, and that's built into the resolution today. So I humbly ask you all for your support. And hopefully you now know a little bit more about these bills and you can see, you know, what's actually being done to address the harassment that we see in our public spaces.
Thank you, Member Lee, for bringing this forward, and I'm very happy to be a co-sponsor of this this resolution. Mr. Chakal, on behalf of Assemblymember Ting.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to thank Commissioner Lee on behalf of Assemblymember Ting for carrying this resolution, both supporting this our measure and also CAA's measure. Just on a personal note, as a victim of a hate crime on the NJUDA many years ago, I cannot tell you how important this is, and appreciate CAA's Chinese for Affirmative Action authoring or sponsoring the bill, and Member Lee bringing this to us.
Thank you very much, Proxy, for Assemblymember Ting. Colleagues, does anyone else have any other comments? I see that there are many co-sponsorships in the chat. Member Chen.
I just really want to thank Janice for putting this forward. It's something that is very important to the Asian community. Not only that, I would really like to ask everyone to please, like Janice said, ensure that the budget ask also gets through, because it's time that we put our money where our mouth is and actually start trying to stop Asian hate from happening. So thank you so much, Janice, for doing this, and please add me on as a co-sponsor.
Thank you, Member Chen. Seeing no other hands, colleagues, can we get a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Moved.
Thank you from Member Spear.
Second.
Second by Member Thomas. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Any abstentions? All right, the motion passes unanimously. Congratulations, Member Lee, and thank you for bringing this forward. We will now move on to item number 10, which is the resolution urging the City College Board of Trustees to protect access to public higher education in San Francisco. And this is being brought forward by Vice Chair Galata. Colleagues, can I have a motion to consider the item?
I'll move it. This is Member Lee.
Thank you, Member Lee. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Member Avalos, I believe.
Yep.
Thank you. Vice Chair Galata, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair Mahogany. So colleagues, this resolution tonight is a follow-up to the resolution that we overwhelmingly supported in March, opposing the layoffs of faculty and staff at City College of San Francisco. And we heard tonight how personally devastating that layoff vote was for educators of the college and in our community. And I want to thank those faculty for being here to share their stories and comments with us. Unfortunately, these layoffs were only the start of what is a clear and decisive move to continue to downsize City College. And as student trustee Malinali spoke tonight, we know these actions continue to most negatively impact students, particularly students of color, immigrants, and first-generation college students. And what's happening now, basically since the layoffs, is the chancellor has decided to cut classes from the fall 2022 course schedule, which students are already actively enrolling in and counting on, despite the fact that the chancellor's own budget already funded these classes. They were approved in the budget. And departments that are really critical, like the English department, have had 40 sections of English 1A cut, which is one of the classes that every student or almost every student needs to complete to get their degree. And we also heard tonight in public comment that 40% of ESL classes have also been cut, along with cuts to library services, fire services, nursing, sciences, and workforce programs. And so taking away these classes takes away opportunities. It means fewer students enrolling, which means less state funding, which leads to less revenue, which then perpetuates a cycle of underfunding and underinvestment that only continues to hurt the college in the long term. And so we can't let this trend continue. We have to continue to push back, because these actions at the college have devastating impacts, not only to longtime educators, but also to students in our community who are seeking access to college classes right here in San Francisco. The fact that students may have to go elsewhere, as we heard an educator say tonight in public comment, is unacceptable. And to help stabilize the college, a Revenue Unity Coalition has started to collect signatures to place a parcel tax on the November ballot that will help create a stable revenue source for the college. And this is a really important step to stop these continued cuts. And I hope if this measure qualifies, that the Democratic Party will come out strongly in support of it. This is really necessary funding. The resolution, though, before us tonight really urges the Board of Trustees to take action now. They have the ability to stand up to the Chancellor to stop these class cuts in the fall. And we need them to use their role as representatives of the community, as people elected by us, the voters, to stand with students and to stop the Chancellor's relentless downsizing agenda. And I want to thank AFT 2121 and SEIU 1021 for their advocacy and continued kind of pushback on this downsizing agenda and really leading that fight, and especially leading on the revenue measure that they're hoping to bring to the ballot in November. I also want to thank co-sponsors of this resolution, members of Ibanez, Lovett, Morales, Avalos, and Thomas, for their support. And lastly, I just have one minor proposed change to the language before you tonight. I'd like to strike the language in the resolved clause that says, including a progressive parcel tax. And the reason is just given that this speaks to a potential ballot measure that we may take an endorsement vote on as a body in the coming months. I think it's just cleanest to just take the vote on that proposal during our endorsements process and not include that language in the resolution tonight, just not to muddy the waters. And we'll just leave the resolution language more broad here, that we certainly support new revenue sources that are being pursued by the Revenue Unity Coalition. So I just would like to suggest that minor amendment to that resolved clause and strike that language. So with that, I hope to have your support tonight. Thank you again to the community members who came out to speak in public comment. And I will also turn it over to see if any of my fellow co-sponsors would like to provide any comments.
Thank you, Vice Chair Galata. I see Member Thomas has his hand raised for comment.
I'd like to thank, well, before I do that, Member Galata, did you make a motion to amend this? Is that, because I can second that.
I did not, but I would like to, if I may.
Can you restate what you're amending?
Sure, thank you. I would like to move to strike the language in the resolved clause that says, including a progressive parcel tax.
I'd like to second Member Galata's amendment. Thank you, Peter, for bringing this.
Thank you, Members Galata and Member Thomas. Member Morales.
Thank you. Thank you, Member Galota, for bringing us all together for this continued conversation and action in support of the school and the students. I have shared before that I am a graduate of City College of San Francisco. I would not be where I am today, career-wise, language-wise, and I don't think just in general in my life, if I hadn't had access to City College of San Francisco. I started taking non-credit classes and then moved on to take credit classes. I took 3 ESL classes and then moved on to be able to take English 96 and then English 1A. I know it sounds like it should be 1A and then 96, but that's not how it works. So this is just such an important institution for migrants, and you know, it also was an important institution for me as a queer woman. I received support there that was very, very critical for my growth and for my mental health, being a young immigrant coming out. And I was able also to have one of my many jobs that I had, you know, besides taking care of kids. I was also a Spanish tutor, and that gave me some important experience as well. And it's just, I just don't know how to express the gratitude I have for the many instructors that I had at City College, the mentors, both at the student union and also as advisors. And it's just really important that we support this institution to be whole. It was really sad to hear, and it continues to be sad to hear, that instructors are losing their jobs and that thousands of students are not going to have the opportunity to go to school. My fear is not that they're going to go to another institution, is that they will not be able to go anywhere else. Being, you know, a domestic worker and not being able to afford, I mean, by the time I transferred to UC Berkeley, I couldn't even afford the BART. I had to travel on the AC Transit, and I wouldn't have been able to go to any other institution anywhere else. And that just breaks my heart and makes me angry at the same time. So please, let's support these efforts and anything else that we can do to ensure that City College continues to be a school for the working class of San Francisco. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Morales. Ms. Solomon, on behalf of proxy for Member Ibanez.
Yeah, speaking on behalf of my sister, Annabelle Ibanez, I just want to echo what the previous speakers have said. This is so, so important. And even though it will be amended to take out the mention of a progressive parcel tax, I hope everybody is circulating the petition to get those signatures by July 11th. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Solomon. Mr. McCoy, proxy for Speaker Pelosi.
Hi, Speaker Pelosi has supported City College for a very long time. It is near and dear to her heart. She has been very consistent in funding and relief with City College. And when we discussed this, because she has not decided her endorsements, we were going to abstain tonight. Peter removed the portion that sort of alluded to an endorsement, but I unfortunately have not been able to reach her since he has done that. So we will be abstaining.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy. Member Chen.
I just really want to thank Peter for bringing this up. Like Member Morales, I also went to City College, and like Member Berry, so City College has a really wide reach when it comes to the communities that it has impacts on. It's not only like specific ones, but I think like all over San Francisco, communities are affected by it. I was able to transfer to UC Davis, so I was really super lucky. And it's because I was able to get classes at City College because I was in the EOP program. But it was hard for me back then. I can't imagine what it is now. And it's just in this kind of economy, having less and less opportunities to kind of like build yourself out of that situation is devastating. So I really hope that everyone would support the measure when it comes out and the resolution.
Thank you, Member Chen. Seeing no other hands, colleagues, are there any objections to the amendment removing the language around the progressive parcel tax? All right, I don't see any objections, so why don't we go ahead and have a motion to approve this resolution as amended?
So moved.
Motion to approve as amended?
Thank you, Member Thomas. Is that seconded by Member Avalos?
That's right.
All right. Thank you very much. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Any abstentions?
Member Tung, abstain.
All right, I see Member
Weiner.
Ting, Member Weiner, I know Member Pelosi, and then also Member Feinstein.
Member Loftus also abstains.
And Member Loftus, thank
And
you.
Member Tung.
Member Tung and Member Weiner as well. Or no, Mandelman, I'm sorry, not Weiner. Member Mandelman.
And Member Ting. Member Ting also abstains.
Member Ting. All right. Can we list the abstentions? So we have members Weiner, Tung, Pelosi, Mandelman, Loftus, Ting, and Feinstein. Any other abstentions? All right. Thank you very much. Congratulations. The motion or the resolution passes. Thank you again, Vice Chair Galata, for your leadership on this. We will now move on to item number 11, which is a resolution urging the mayor and board of supervisors to allocate public funding for the San Francisco Pride Parade and celebration. I am the sponsor for this resolution. Colleagues, can we have a motion to consider the item?
So moved.
Thank you, Member Morales, and seconded by Member Thomas or Galata, Vice Chair Galata. Thank you. Colleagues, I'm going to keep my comments around this relatively brief. I know that we just had a resolution last month, urging Pride to disinvest from corporate sponsors, and the reasons for that is because some of those corporate sponsorships come from corporations that are also simultaneously funding anti-LGBT politicians who are legislating against our community all across the country. Unfortunately, this is also happening at a time where we have incredibly high and rising costs in order to produce events like Pride. I was on a call yesterday with members of the Pride organizing committee and production staff who were decrying that things that had cost $30,000 2 years ago were now costing $100,000. So prices have risen exponentially, and this is really unsustainable for a nonprofit, especially without support from a city like San Francisco. There are many other cities across the country that do invest in their prides and provide public funding for their prides. And part of the reason that is yes, to disinvest from potentially harmful corporate interests, but also because those cities benefit so much from Pride existing and being there. San Francisco Pride draws 500,000 people regularly every year. It seems like every year there's more and more people, and it generates hundreds of millions of dollars of income from the city. So as a city that is, looking to on the way to recovery, looking for ways in which we can improve our economy and recover after the pandemic, I think a very good investment in that would be to make sure that festivals like the Pride Festival continue to thrive and build and grow here in San Francisco and help bring our economy back. So I think we have both a moral imperative and also a fiscal imperative to provide options for public financing and other support from the city of San Francisco to San Francisco Pride. So I'm hoping that I can have your support on this resolution. I would like to now open it up for any comments. Colleagues, does anyone want to comment on this item? Seeing none, can we have a motion to approve the item?
I'll move it for approval.
So Member Lee, and then was that Member Ting that seconded?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's do this by acclamation. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Abstain.
Feinstein and Pelosi abstain. And that is all. Colleagues, thank you for your support. This passes, and appreciate your support. Happy Pride. We will now move on to item number 12, which is a resolution in support of SB 930, alcohol and beverages hours of sale. I have also introduced this item. Colleagues may have a motion to consider the item.
So moved.
Moved by Member Thomas and seconded by
Second.
Vice Chair Galata. Thank you very much.
You muted yourself, Chair.
Thank you. Well, I also want to thank you, Member Thomas, for letting me know that I was muted. And thank you, State Senator Scott Wiener and Assembly Member Matt Haney for sponsoring SB 930, which would allow the sale of alcohol from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. for nightlife establishments in 7 cities in California, including San Francisco, West Hollywood, Palm Springs, Cathedral City, Coachella, Fresno, and Oakland, which all asked to be included as part of a 5-year pilot program. Currently, California allows the sale of alcohol from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. for bars, nightclubs, and restaurants. And these rules have been in place for more than 80 years, since 1935, when the 21st Amendment ended the national prohibition on the sale of alcohol. If enacted, this policy would allow each pilot city full control over how to apply the rules and regulations around alcohol sales. Cities would have the discretion to limit those extended hours to certain neighborhoods or even certain streets, and could also choose what days of the week any extended hours may apply. Each business that decides to participate would have to go through the standard permitting process to obtain a liquor license for those additional hours. And the reason that this is so important, especially in places like San Francisco, is that these small businesses, mostly bars and nightclubs, play a really important role in San Francisco's economy. San Francisco is a world-class city, but unfortunately, when people come here from all sorts of other places, other parts of the country, like New York or Florida, or come here from Europe or other places across the globe, they are oftentimes shocked and dismayed to discover that this is a city that shuts down by 1:30 a.m. And I can say this as a owner of the Stud and someone who would bartend there. We would get comments about how crazy that was, that we were shutting down at 1:30 and that this was not standard for a world-class city. So this is not only a disappointment to our many visitors and damaging to San Francisco's reputation and also its largest industry, which is tourism. It also significantly hampers the ability of our local bars and clubs to make ends meet. A majority of the money that is made at these venues happens between the hours of 11 p.m. and 1:30 a.m. 2 nights a week, Friday and Saturday. This is just an incredibly narrow window in order to make money and pay your rent. Many of these establishments struggle to survive, and it's really no wonder that we have had so many bars across the city shut down over the years. With commercial rents as high as they are here in San Francisco and in many other places throughout California, I think if we want to continue to have an active, diverse, and thriving nightlife, then we need to also make sure that they, being those businesses, can make the money that they need to stay open. This bill achieves this goal, making bars and nightclubs in places like San Francisco more viable and meeting the needs of our residents, visitors, and tourism industry. It also allows for localized control to meet the needs of all the communities and neighborhoods in our diverse city. This measure will do a lot of good for a sector of our economy that was severely hit by the pandemic, and I hope to have your support in passing this resolution today. With that, I will open it up to comments. Member Barry.
Thank you, Chair. I had more of a question for clarification. Does this include the corner liquor stores?
No, this is specifically for nightclubs and bars.
Thank you.
That's a different type of liquor license. Any other questions or comments? I see proxy for Senator Wiener, Mr. Rahimi.
Thank you, Chair Mahogany. I just wanted to point out that this bill is near and dear to Senator Wiener's heart. He did get this past the legislature in the past, and Governor Jerry Brown did veto it. So we're hoping for a better result this time around. We are very appreciative of newly elected Assemblyman Matt Haney's co-sponsorship of the bill as well, and we're hoping for the best.
Thank you, Mr. Rahimi. Member Chen.
I will be abstaining for the resolution just because I don't know how I feel about the bill yet. I do agree that nightlife in San Francisco ends a little bit too early, but when I think about all the single room occupancies along Broadway Street, and how many like seniors and families are living in there, it's just really concerning to me that they won't be able to have like a peaceful night's rest on Fridays and Saturdays. And it's just, it was a concern before when a similar bill was brought up. So that's why I'll be abstaining today. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Chen. Are there any other comments? Seeing none, can we have a motion to approve this item?
Moved by Ting.
Thank you, Member Ting. Is there a second?
Seconded.
I'm sorry, who's that?
Member Tung.
Thank you, Member Tung. Colleagues, let's do this by acclamation. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Nay. And any abstentions? I know we have Member Chen is abstaining. Any other abstentions?
Abstain.
Spear abstain.
Pelosi abstain.
Spear abstain.
Spears, Pelosi,
Feinstein.
Feinstein,
Love it.
Lovett, Avalos, and Chen. All right. Thank you very much. The resolution passes. Thank you for your support, colleagues. We will now move on to item number 13, which is a resolution in support of SB 116, the Performing Arts Equitable Payroll Fund. Can we have a motion to consider this item?
So move.
Thank you, Member Barry. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
I don't know who the first one was. Who was first?
Gary can have it.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Pelosi.
Speaker Pelosi will second. Thank you very much. All right, colleagues, this is a resolution that I have introduced. While there have been recent gains under the leadership of and investment of Governor Gavin Newsom for the arts community here in California, we have suffered from years of underinvestment, especially considering California's role as a national leader in the arts. This chronic long-term underfunding of the industry amounted to a double hit when the pandemic shut down live arts. Unable to operate and saddled with costly COVID-19 response measures like building upgrades and weekly testing, the impact of these two events has been swift and striking. Johns Hopkins University reports that as of October 2021, the percentage of job losses at nonprofit arts organizations remains more than 3 times worse than the average of all nonprofits. The Equitable Payroll Funds, EPF, is a grant program designed to support California performing arts workers directly by providing substantial reimbursement of payroll expenses to California small nonprofit performing arts organizations with annual operating budgets under $2 million. Much like the recent Employee Retention Credit Program of the American Rescue Plan and the CARES Act, the investment by the EPF will help create and sustain jobs for creative workers, one of the hardest hit workforce sectors where recovery still lags far behind others. Based on 2019 IRS reporting, internal estimates from theater producers in Southern California show that the EPF has the potential to support upwards of 85,000 seasonal, part-time, and full-time jobs annually in California. The proposed legislation is authored by Senator Anthony Portantino and co-authored by Senator Susan Rubio and Assemblymember Miguel Santiago. SB 1116 has the broad support of management and labor and is co-sponsored by the Actors Equity Association and the Theater Producers of Southern California. I think that this is another very straightforward measure in support of a very heavily impacted sector, and I hope to have your support. Colleagues, I'll open it up to comments now, and I'll open it up to Assemblymember Ting.
Thank you, Chair Mahogany. As budget chair, and this is part of the budget discussions right now, we'll be abstaining on this item today without prejudice.
All right, thank you very much, Member Ting. And I see Congresswoman Spear, Mr. Perkins.
I'm just curious, I don't notice in the resolution any indication as to how much money it would cost per year or how many years the fund would go on.
That is a good question, and I don't know that I have that information in front of me, but let me see if I can find that information. In the meantime, are there any other comments?
Maybe Mr. Checkle has the answer. He's got his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
raised my hand. I'm looking at the budget item right now, so I will raise a hand again if I find it.
Okay, thank you very much.
I mean, on behalf of Congresswoman Spear, I wouldn't mind voting for it, except that I do want to know how much it's going to cost and how long it goes on. Otherwise, I'll probably have to abstain.
Yeah, it's been a little hard to get the information right now. So sorry I didn't have that information in front of me.
So, Mr. Perkins, as you know, because it is part of the budget negotiations, there's actually not a dollar amount that is in writing yet. So it's kind of to be determined. So sorry about that.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question, though. All right, colleagues, I don't see any other hands. Can we have a motion to approve the item?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Who was the first one?
Susan Solomon.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Solomon, and then seconded by Member Berry. Colleagues, let's do this by acclamation unless there's an objection. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions?
Spear abstain.
Member Spear.
Sorry.
Ting abstain.
Member Ting and Member Spear. And that is all. Colleagues, again, thank you for your support. The resolution passes. We will now move on to item number, 15, which is new business. At this time, does anyone want to bring forward new business to pod?
Chair, I think you skipped 14, the Castro unionization.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. We did add item number 14 to the agenda. Members, may we have a motion to consider this item?
So moved.
Thank you, Member Thomas. Is there a second?
Second.
That was
Speaker Pelosi.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. McCoy. Speaker Pelosi seconds. Colleagues, this is a resolution that I have brought forward. Recently, employees of San Francisco, and also, I'm sorry, can we just make sure that we're muted if we're not speaking? A little bit of feedback. Recently, employees of Starbucks in the Castro district have begun a drive to unionize their workplace. They've joined with Starbucks Workers United, the union that has won over 80% of the more than 175 elections in which the National Labor Relations Board has declared a winner. And workers have formally sought elections at more than 275 stores in all. Though Starbucks has often touted itself to be a great place to work with work flexibility and a diverse array of worker benefits, which is true, unfortunately, it has not supported the unionization of its workers. With Starbucks getting trounced in union vote after union vote and dozens more union elections in the weeks ahead, just last month, recently returned CEO Howard Schultz announced that Starbucks would give sizable raises to its non-union workers, but not to its unionized workers. Schultz said he couldn't give those raises to the unionized baristas because that would be an illegal unilateral imposition of wages and benefits on them without the union's agreement. Starbucks Workers United asserts that Schultz's move constitutes illegal discrimination against union members, a move to punish those baristas who have unionized and also to improperly chill workers' interest in unionizing across the US. On May 6th, the National Labor Relations Board issued an unusually wide-ranging complaint against Starbucks, accusing it of more than 200 violations of the nation's labor laws as part of its anti-union efforts in Buffalo, including firing 6 pro-union workers, disciplining and surveilling others, and closing stores. Stating that Starbucks' egregious anti-union conduct could cripple organizing drives in various cities. The Labor Board has also taken the unusual step of going to federal court, where it has accused the company of illegally firing pro-union baristas in Memphis and in Phoenix, and asked that they be immediately reinstated. Currently, violations of federal laws, federal labor laws, don't impose financial penalties for companies that violate them. For instance, they can't be fined for illegally firing workers in retaliation for leading a unionization drive. The PRO Act, backed by President Joe Biden but blocked by a Republican filibuster, seeks to remedy this situation. Ultimately, this resolution reaffirms that we as the San Francisco Democratic Party stand in unity with labor and those wishing to organize to fight for their rights and the rights of their fellow workers. It includes support for Starbucks workers, specifically those at the Castro Starbucks, and also urges the passage of the PRO Act. And tonight, I hope to have all of your support as well. We will now open it up to comments, and I see that Mr. McCoy, rep for Speaker Pelosi, has his hand raised.
Yes, Speaker Pelosi appreciates this resolution. She would like to offer a friendly amendment and expand Castro location to all San Francisco locations.
Absolutely. Sure, I approve that amendment.
Madam Chair, is this the time to just move approval by acclamation?
Yes, though we should,
Okay.
Sorry, 1 second. We should figure out exactly where, is that just in the title or, let's see, where else is that?
I forgot how to mute, and we're several years into this, so sorry. 1 second. Yes, the title, and then also in the resolved clause, last sentence, it says that for the supporting the union drive at Starbucks located in the Castro district, and then I would add maybe and any potential drives throughout all San Francisco locations.
Okay, and maybe and specifically supports the union drive at all Starbucks in San Francisco, and specifically something like that. The Starbucks in Castro, something like we can finesse that.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Can we have? I think we actually need to vote for the amendment. So can we have a vote or a motion to approve the amendment?
So moved. So moved.
Moved by Member Spears and seconded by
Mr. Galata.
Mr. Vice Chair Galata. Colleagues, can we take that amendment without objection? I believe we can. Thank you very much. Can we now have a motion to pass, to approve the resolution as amended?
So moved.
So moved.
Moved by Member Berry, seconded by Member Spear. Colleagues, if we can do this by acclamation, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Any abstentions?
Feinstein abstains.
Feinstein abstains.
Member Loftus abstains just because I'm not sure what she thinks about this motion since it was introduced later.
Okay, no worries. Thank you very much. Is there any other abstentions? All right, thank you very much. The resolution passes. We will now move on to item number 15, which is new business. Colleagues, at this time, is there any new business to be brought before the body?
Chair, could we actually, Henny Kelly is on the call now.
Yes, why don't we go back and do the report from our CDP representative, Henny Kelly.
Great, I'll promote her right now. Great, she's with us now.
Welcome, Regional Director Kelly.
And now you can't see me. Oh, what the heck? Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Well, why don't I just give my report, not worrying about seeing me because I don't look so good today anyway. Are we okay? Can you? Yeah.
Oh, we can see you.
All right. So one of the things that I wanted to tell you is that I was notified that the FDA is forcing Juul to pull e-cigarettes off the US market. And I thought that was something I would enjoy letting you know. And also today I was in Sacramento and I spoke on SJR 11, which was a resolution to ask all of our people in legislators in Washington to vote for Larson's bill on Social Security. That, interestingly enough, that will be going to a vote very soon. And this is the bill on Social Security 2100. All of the Democrats, except for one, are putting their name on the bill. And I thought that was a very interesting thing that we were going to have. One of the things that's happening at the executive board meeting is that on Saturday, they are going to be getting 3 buses. And each of the buses will go to a different place with hopefully some delegates, and they will be going out and canvassing. And there will be another group that will be staying in and making calls. So they're trying to make the Saturday part of the meeting 2 hours of work for Democrats. And I think that's really a quite interesting thing to do. The other thing that how many of you guys are going to be at the in-person? You're okay. Honey is going to, and I hope some other people will be there. I think it is going to be our first in-person meeting, and I am just wanted you to know that I am trying to see if we can do a little bit of a hybrid in the committees and see if there's any way to do that for people who are not able to be there and who are committee members. That's about all I have. I just had a meeting, and why I was late was that I was with the San Mateo Dems, and we were giving them a workshop about resolutions. And what was interesting to me is I got right here with you guys, and I know you do resolutions pretty well. So I just wanted to let you know those few things, and I hope that we will have an in-person meeting coming soon.
Thank you, Regional Director Kelly. Appreciate you being here. With that, third time's a charm. We will move on to new business. Colleagues, any new business that you'd like to bring forward? I see Member Thomas.
Thank you, Chair Mahogany. I just wanted to flag for folks again that we're having the Legislation Committee meeting at this e-board. It is the first Legislation Committee meeting where we'll be operating under the new rules, and it'll be happening on Friday. I want to second Henny Kelly's statements regarding providing an opportunity for members of these committees to participate with a remote option. There are many folks who there was a lot of work put into ensuring that committee co-chairs and committee members came from diverse backgrounds in the most recent appointment phase, and to have a lot of folks that are of all age brackets and all backgrounds and all. And that means that there are a lot of folks that have immunocompromised or disability issues that are members of the committee and want to participate all over the state and all over the various committees. And we do not currently have a system in place to accommodate this. There is not a hybrid model. It's just in-person only. I know myself and the co-chairs on the legislation committee have requested to have some sort of hybrid model set up. Thus far, I have not heard of any opportunities for that, but I just want to second Henny Kelly's comments on that and state that we have strong opinion that everybody should be able to participate and fulfill their responsibilities as members of the committee. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Member Thomas. I know that this is new business, but I think want to address one thing, which is, how that we have continued to have virtual meetings here at the San Francisco Democratic Party. And there's a couple of reasons why we've chosen to do that. One is that, we have had so many flare-ups with the pandemic. And so we want to make sure that we are protecting our members and especially those most vulnerable members of our community. The other is that there has been, I think, a significant increase in participation when we have gone virtual. It is more accessible to people. People have varying work schedules, or, it is also expensive to get around. And so having a virtual option where you can log in either via your phone or on your computer or some other way, or call in, has been, I think, helpful in people being able to have access to the meeting. And then thirdly, I will say there is a financial component, which is that in order to have it in a venue, we have to pay rent or pay for the space. And so we have made the decision that we want to make sure that we are financially stable and in a position to actually be to have those additional expenditures. So those are the three reasons why we have continued to maintain this. Though if we are super successful in our August fundraising, perhaps we will eliminate at least one of those reasons and can consider coming back to in person. So that maybe will motivate people to help us sell some tickets. That being said, any other new business? All right, seeing none, we will now move to adjournment. And at this time, we can bring forward in memoriams. I would actually like to put forward an in memoriam for the person who lost their life today while riding Muni after being shot. This was a death that was shocking and unnecessary. And while we don't have a lot of details on exactly what happened, I did want to honor the life that was lost to gun violence today. And certainly that's not the first death, or and there have been many others that have happened recently, but it did happen today, and I wanted to acknowledge that life and that passing. Member Barry.
Yes, just briefly, this is not in memory, this is in honor of a person and an organization. I want to honor Miss Virginia Marshall. If anyone's involved in education in San Francisco, you know who Virginia Marshall is. If you say you're involved, you're a liar. If you do not know this woman, and she's a pillar in the community, and especially to the Black community. She's helped so many youth. She's helped issues with racism in schools, and she helped a lot of Black kids get scholarships. And in my second, I want to honor the Golden State Warriors. This is San Francisco's first time having them here and be the champions of the world. And I think we should really give them their due respect. They came through a lot and they have a lot of resilience, and that's symbolic, for what we want to be. So cheers.
Cheers. Thank you,
This
Member
is water.
Thank you, Member Barry. Stay hydrated. Are there any other in memoriams or in honors? Okay, seeing none, colleagues, with that, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you next time.